GRA was very much involved. His drive was not only in terms of knowing all of Torah and getting back to the basics of Torah, to the roots of Torah, to find the original sources and repairing some of those sources as they were printed and published and were full of mistakes and missing passages and whatever. So in every area we see also the drive for Geula. And if we take this exhibit, this part of the exhibit, this is about Tanakh, HaGaon v'Tanakh. And within the Tanakh we see that he dealt with difficult passages in Yehoshua, in Malachim, Sefer Yechezkel, about the division of the land of Israel, about the shape of the Beit HaMikdash, whether it's the time of Shlomo or the time of what Yechezkel is professing in his prophecy, what the third Beit HaMikdash would look like. And most of the commentaries till then didn't really seriously deal with it. It was very difficult to take a written text and try to convert that to a view of a map of the land or a diagram, architectural design. Right? But the GRA very seriously took it very seriously, and he wrote in words. He didn't write the map himself, but based on his explanation, afterwards, publishers and students were able to take his explanations and draw a map. Without ever stepping on Eretz Israel, they were able to draw a map of the land divided first to the Nachalot. And same thing with the diagram of the Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi of Yechezkel. He didn't draw the map, but afterwards, based on his explanations, someone drew the map. This side of the exhibit is called the HaGaon HaGalui. The B'Korot Chazal B'Halacha. The Gaon and his deep involvement in the sources of the Chazal, the Talmudim, the Mishnah, the Breita, the Tosefta, the Midrashim, and also in Halacha. As I mentioned before, the Gaon very much wanted to find the original sources of every Halacha, legitimate Halacha, and that was in his time. And while doing so, when he went back to the original sources, he had to repair some of them because he had printed. He didn't have a bunch of manuscripts in his hands, like scholars do today, but he had the printed books that were available at the time. He may have had some exposure to some manuscripts, but definitely not on the level that the scholars do today, comparing every little word and letter and whatever. But so we have on exhibit here his Perush on the Mishnah and Zraim. We have Mesechet Sofrim, Hagahot on the Yerushalmi, corrections and comments on the Yerushalmi, on the Seder Olam Rabbah, and many other things that he wrote were later incorporated in the Shas Vilna, in the Talmud Bavli. They're not running commentaries, but they're corrections. So when he went through the text, he offered corrections based on his abundant knowledge of all of Chazal, all the texts and sources. We have here a couple of the original editions of the first printings on the Or Chaim, on Yerodea, and Even HaEzer from the early 1800s. And in the Biur HaGra, he also expressed in all the halachot of the Shulchan Aruch, what are the sources. He wrote in shorthand, but he would refer to a sugya, or he quote the sugya, or a line in the passage in the Chazal. He would quote, this is the source for this halacha. It's part of his drive for Geula, which I mentioned before. He was quoted by students as saying that he wanted to go to Eretz Israel, and there he was going to compose a new Shulchan Aruch, which would be monolithic in terms of, there wouldn't be two opinions mentioning. It would be for all of Am Yisrael. It would bring great achdut, right, to Am Yisrael. It wouldn't be Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, and that would be the new Shulchan Aruch, which would be the foundation for Geula and for the coming of the Mashiach ben David. But he never made it to Eretz Israel, and all that he was quoted as saying to his family members when he came back was that the Min HaShamayim man'u mimeni, that from heaven they didn't allow me to go. When he came back from his attempt to go to Eretz Israel, he established a Beit Midrash with students, and all of those that we know afterwards, so we were students of the Vilna Gaon, of Chaim Volozhin, and others, those are personalities that actually were with him during those 18 years, some more, some less, but they were involved with him, and they were the ones who afterwards spread his ideology, Torah ideology, Geula ideology, and they recorded a lot of it, and then published it in actual books. There's no collective writings, Kol Kitvei HaGra. There's nothing like that. Okay? A lot of this stuff wasn't even recorded in the early years. Either they found manuscripts afterwards, or secondary quotes that somebody said in the name of the Vilna Gaon, and it was recorded, and then somebody else came along and collected it from piece here, a piece there, but he was really involved in all areas. In this display here, we see his involvement also in the Kabbalah. We call it HaGaon B'Kol Shvilei HaTorah, HaGaon Vilna, in all areas of Torah. I mean, B'Yama, as mentioned before, Torah Shebektav, Torah Sheba'al Peh, Halacha. Here we see that he was also involved with writing explanations to difficult passages of the Zohar. In the Sefer Ditzniuta, also one of the parts of the Zohar. He was involved in the Siddur Tefillah, published after his death, the corrections that he made on the Siddur, and then they have later, in the 20th century, they published different editions of the Siddur with Perushim from the Gaon Vilna, and including Minhagim, and all kinds of things like that. This is the small group here, like I said, Kabbalah, B'Mada, B'Tefillah. Mada, sciences, worldly knowledge of the sciences, of where he felt that it was important for Talmid Chacham to know sciences so they can understand Torah better. There's a translation of Euclidus, a geometry book from the famous Greek Euclid. Out of his messianic drive, that he wanted Torah scholars to be knowledgeable of the sciences because their place is in the Sanhedrin. And the Sanhedrin is in Eretz Israel. We're going to reestablish that this great institution, the Sanhedrin, and we have to have the Talmidei Chachamim, which are knowledgeable in Torah and in general sciences. So it made sense. The same Baruch Mishklav also published this book on the Hilchot Kiddush HaChodesh. Very special items which are unknown to us for a couple of days. A volume of the Talmud Yerushalmi on Zraim, with the actual original handwritten comments and corrections of the Gaon himself. Now this volume has been passed on from generation to generation between family members and descendants and also students, other Torah scholars in the 19th century. In recent years, there's this organization in Yerushalayim, headed by Rabbi Yedidia Franco, is trying to take this volume and analyze the Gaon's comments, and to publish it in a user-friendly way so that all Torah scholars can benefit from this. I think it's a great honor that we have such an important institution within our midst here in Gush Etzion, right? The Yeshivat Har Etzion, which represents those same energies of Torah and Geula together, just as it did in the Beit Midrash of the Gaon Vilna over 200 years ago, and that we feel that we are continuing his legacy and his heritage. And here we are. We met the challenge, and we invite others to come and learn of this legacy and to join us in meeting the challenges of Torah and Geula.